In recent days, the plight of the people of Ukraine has attracted the concern of the world. With heartrending stories and news of casualties, there's a widespread desire to help. Today, I'm going to find out about the wider Ukrainian community and how you can help with Bitcoin. My guests are leading an initiative that aims to raise $20,000 initially through the sale of NFTs on the Bitcoin SV blockchain. So I'd like to welcome Adam Hawley and Yuriy Porytko. Hi, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Hello, good morning.
You're listening to CoinGeek Conversations with Charles Miller.
Let me start with the specifics here, and we'll work back to the bigger political questions. Adam, what exactly are people invited to do if they want to take part in this initiative?
It's basically an initiative to, you're going to get a digital keepsake for donating to a cause where people are in need. So you're basically getting a digital NFT keepsake that you'll be able to hold on to. It'll be locked into the blockchain. Maybe, you hand it down, maybe you trade it off, maybe it's just something you keep for your collection. But really, in the end of the day, 100% of the proceeds of the purchase are going directly to the charity, which Yuriy linked me to. And Yuriy was the one that came to my mind because, as he has said, being from Philadelphia, he was one of the Ukrainians that I knew. And I said, you know what, we need to do something here.
Right. So Yuriy, what is actually going to happen to the money that people donate or spend in buying these NFTs?
Sure. So it's my direct tie, being a fifth generation Ukrainian American, my direct tie to the Ukrainian American community is actually through sport, which is kind of my link to Adam. We linked up together in the 1980s through the skateboarding community, and we've stayed in touch ever since. And so sport has been a vehicle in my life for a whole lot of different things. And one of the things that I've got is, our soccer club, which has got a 75-year history here in the United States, was founded by Ukrainian American immigrants. And in the 1950s and the 1960s, we were America's team. We were the U.S. national team, and we were the U.S. Olympic team. So we've been involved in international politics through sport for a very long time. And most recently, with the tragic events of this just unsolicited, absolute act of aggression by Putin and the Russians, we as the Ukrainian American Sport Club, Trizum, we've got 52 teams and over 800 families that are part of the club. And we've gotten such an outpouring that we were like, we need to organize to do some fundraising. And our natural organization that we went to is called ZUDAK. It's the Ukrainian American Relief Committee, based here out of Philadelphia, founded in 1945, which tells you the length of the history of how the suffering of the Ukrainian people's been here, that we needed a committee for 70 some odd years, to provide relief to Ukrainians in the diaspora and in Ukraine in and of itself as a suffering people. But this has been so compelling. The people have come out of every aspect that you can imagine. And in doing so, when Adam reached out to me, immediately I knew what organization that we're going to support. And I'm going to tell you this, we are a non-political organization. We've used sport as a uniting factor in youth growth and development. And this is something that's rare for us as an organization, because the politics of Eastern Europe are like a stew, it's very difficult, and it's always moving and changing, and we as an organization, our club itself is 75 years old. We've stepped outside of politics, and we've used sport just to highlight the Ukrainian culture, the Ukrainian people, and the Ukrainian community here in the United States.
Well, Adam, I've seen the NFT artwork on your NFT Familiars site. Can you just tell me a little bit about that, the actual artwork, and what the context is on this site where there's other artwork for sale?
Basically, the artwork came about quickly because the project had to come about quickly. I basically searched and found images that I felt would represent the feeling I was having. So I asked Yuri quickly for an image, which he sent me the coat of arms. When I noticed the coat of arms, I then found a picket fence painted in that color. The picket fence then reminded me of the people standing. And then I also took the statue of the woman with the sword as my kind of depiction of what I would think would be like the spirit standing behind this fence, like of, everyday citizens that are just automatically forced into a war zone. So I figured it was kind of like they needed this guiding spirit kind of thing. And the picket fence, is a little bit worn. It's a little bit tattered. It was painted by someone, designed by someone, not myself. It was a free image, but it was something that I saw as worthy of using in this situation. And hopefully those things can all channel together and make this effort worth it, because I mean it's $20,000 to a lot of individuals. It's a drop in the bucket. They could purchase all 200 at a luncheon that they've spent in the past. So to me, it's a drop in the bucket, and I see it as it's a lot. It's also like for some people, $100 is food all week. So $100 is a lot. So I was hoping for more or less just to get an outpouring of people that could see and want to directly help immediately. This NFT enables that. Your money goes directly within minutes into that account, into those people's hands, into this channel. Whereas if you sit home and watch your TV and send, it could take days, weeks, months.
Yuri, you talked about your Ukrainian heritage. What do you have in the way of living connections in the country today, if anything?
It's as much as I've got family here throughout the United States, being that many generations removed, Ukrainians are a close-knit community. I have second cousins in Lviv, where mistakenly our administration moved the capital from Kyiv. They moved our embassy, in a panic to Lviv in Western Ukraine, ostensibly giving Putin permission to invade the eastern part of the country. But I don't want to talk politics, because politics and religion aren't mentioned in polite company. But the city of Lviv itself has a multi-ethnic population, and it's a representation of Ukraine itself. As in 1991, when Ukrainians wanted to launch a democracy, the folks that people are saying, wow, but there's a lot of these pro-Russian Ukrainians that want to bring in the Russians. That's false. Under the Soviet era and under the Soviet yoke, Stalin removed Ukrainian towns, cities, villages, and replaced the people with Russians, ethnic Russians. And those are who the people are sympathetic. And in 91, the Ukrainians, in their attempt to launch a perfect democracy, which is, you and I all know that's impossible, but they had the option to expel these non-natives, these non-Ukrainians from the Ukrainian independent country, and they decided to keep them. And unfortunately, this has been used against the Ukrainians over their history since 1991, with the annexation of Crimea, the distortions of the treaties that the United States has had when Ukraine decided to give up its nuclear arsenal for protection from the West, and specifically from the United States, where, as you can see, it's been bastardized and, dare I say, fake news or propagandized that this is an internal thing and these Ukrainians want the Russians inside. And quite frankly, we've proven that we don't, with the activity of the Ukrainians against the Russians right now. So my family, do we have contact? Yes, I'm in touch with these folks. Luckily, we've got a lot of initiatives that are keeping on the technology community, that are keeping the links up. We are in contact with folks in Ukraine, in Kyiv, as we speak this morning. They're telling jokes. Okay, this is the mood in Kyiv today. I was calling a friend of mine, and he said, "Oh, by the way, Zelensky finally got through on a call with Putin. They're going to start talking peace, and the negotiations are starting." And Zelensky, in his history as a comedian and as an actor, asked Putin, "Vladimir, do you mind if I lighten the mood and tell a joke?" And Vladimir Putin says, "Yes." And he goes, "Kyiv." Putin sits there, waits a minute. I don't get it. He goes, and you never will. And he hangs up the phone. So that's the joke. That's the joke. And that's the mood in a besieged city, you know? So it's just unbelievable what's occurring right now. So my family, are they okay? Are some of the people dead? I'm going to say yes, because we haven't heard from some of the people that, that are out there. But, we're crying and we're doing everything we can here to support everything.
Well, there's so much to say about what's going on in Ukraine today. And I want to just focus back a little bit on the particular project we're talking about here, because I want to ask Adam, NFTs seem to me to offer a way that the technology world of Bitcoin and all the sort of complicated and rather kind of unemotional stuff associated with technology, there's a kind of bridge here to the world that you're interested in, which is community and culture and so on. And tell me a little bit about, do you agree with that? And where do you think that is going now?
No, I completely agree. And what it does is it puts a direct connection, which is what I was saying earlier. It directly channels it. So this, in me pushing my launch back and enabling me to push this charity forward just shows that about this. Like you want to build a community, and this allows this new form of cryptocurrency, blockchain technology building and integration allows for these things to happen that were virtually impossible in the 90s. You couldn't do these types of things. It would take way too long to process and so forth. So now the things that, building this community with different NFTs and around different causes as well. Like this is our first thing we've brought out, which is a charity cause. I also think, blockchain BSV is going to help with commercial aspect of integrating community. I also think it'll help with, different mental aspects. Like I have traumatic brain injuries. So I've suffered too many concussions. So I have a series coming out, which is a migraine series. So from that NFT holder, they'll have access to this community on this website build out that will enable them to maybe go, and maybe we'll have guest speakers that will speak about, different things, or we'll have, features of coping mechanisms or, immediate reach outs, and blockchain technology enables that.
I mean, I go back rather a long way to the days of the internet boom. And this somewhat reminds me of those early days where when you joined up with an internet service provider, you were encouraged to create your own family website. And there were things like MySpace, and there was just a kind of blossoming of individual creativity. And it seems that possibly the NFTs are pointing us in the same direction, do you think?
I completely agree that has that same feel. Having grown up on the lower rungs of the OSI pyramid in transport networking in that era when telecom was opening up and broadband was not yet a thing, but we were building the internet, the actual networking side. I have what you described is absolutely correct. I have that same tingly feeling of that occurring. And that's why when Adam approached me with this, Adam approached me with a concept. And it's something where in Adam's career, he's been involved with skateboarding and boarding in a variety of different capacities, and the channels have changed, but the spirit, that independent spirit, that artistic, expressive spirit that connected us in the early 1980s as we were children back then. Do you know what I mean? It connected us, but it shaped and formed us, because that community that we built, that skateboarding community, shaped our growth and development into adulthood and into our own families as we're building them now. And it's interesting because we had a little bit of a iconoclastic punk rock attitude throughout all of this. And a lot of us that are in this community, it's been a community without a fence, without a wall, without a link. And it's because it's been through that independent expression through our skateboarding that really bonded us. Do you know what I mean? We were such a polyglot crew of everybody, every race, every language. We had people running around. We couldn't communicate, but we could express with skating and how we did it all throughout the city of Philadelphia and South Jersey. And that's why the NFT company is called NFT Familiar, because Adam's building another larger community simply named Familiar. Are you familiar? This gives us that feeling, that brand that we're putting together. Adam's Familiar is exactly what you're talking about.
Because familiar comes from family.
Absolutely.
Right. It basically
and evocative. Yeah. And we are a family.
And it's basically all the familiarities. It's the familiarities of everything. It's the connectivity of everything. It's the blockchain and this NFT is going to be able to, through the different NFTs, put everyone in their own familiarity space and make them feel comfortable and at small increments, enable themselves to grow at whatever pace they wish, which is awesome with things like, money button or different ways to immediately exchange cash. So the live events and the things that could be possible, it seems limitless at this point. And like Yuri said, we came together as skateboarders in the 80s as all of the different individuals. We were different individuals then. It wasn't really a cool thing to do. So there was people from every level of wealth and every different race. So we didn't really run thinking, oh, this guy's here, this guy's this guy's that. We thought this guy did this trick, this guy did that trick, this guy did this trick. And through life, we've now learned that a lot of the people that we met in that little tight knit have grown into superstars. So now these superstars don't really pay attention to the technology, because we're all in our 40s and 50s, we're more focused on family or life or other things. But for me, this technology enables a way to put us all in that virtual space again. So it's a natural transition for me. The NFT thing is just for me like a lightning rod to connect all of the different groups that throughout the world that I've connected with through this skateboarding and snowboarding community.
But just to clarify, Adam, what is the link between NFT Familiars, which you're about to launch, and Fabrique, which is where you buy the NFTs? Are they separate entities, or is it part of the same thing?
They're completely separate entities. Fabrique basically is bringing me into the digital world, and NFT Familiars is my own creation. It'll start out small as a basic website where there's merchandise offered, and the people with the NFTs are offered discounts because they on the merchandise that's on the site. So they'll start out small in that way and build into this structure, because I'm ground floor. I'm not backed up. I'm operating from myself on myself. As you can probably notice from my surroundings, I'm even building my own home here. So I'm active in a lot of different things. But what Fabric has done for me is brought me back to a place where I think I can reassemble a large group of people and put together a lot of people that are normally untouchable and make them familiar to people.
So one thing just to note, this is probably the best video call I've ever had with Adam. He's in rural Vermont. Okay. He's literally in the Northeast Kingdom and in rural Vermont, just at the base of Jay Mountain. And just to kind of point out, Adam himself, he's very humble, will never tell you this, but Adam was a very significant force in skateboarding from the 80s on. The brands that he built in the skateboarding community for equipment manufacture and all of the merchandise around it was named Failure. He's a bit of a celebrity in the skateboarding community, but not in the kind of celebrity that's, the iconic like Pele or Ronaldo. He's kind of what the kids actually say when they're skating and talking about, because he's grassroots guy. Do you know what I mean? And it's something where You know, just to me, even growing up, Adam and that group was on another level. I mean, they were our superstars here locally, you know, and, you know, the fact that those superstars and the hoi polloi, you know, mixed like we do, that what, 40 years later, 30 years later, here we are still knit together, shows you that familiar community. And, you know, what Adam's building there and how he's building it out, we're gonna make rural Vermont a destination for some of this that's going to be pretty amazing. And the tools that Fabrique gives us, and the, you know, everything that Adam's just described, is really a platform that allows, you know, us to get beyond the sort of yoke that we're kind of stuck in. Do you know what I mean? To reach out into that Coinbase world that is sort of on that, you know, it's just got its manifest destiny dictated to it, and let's go take over the world.
That's brilliant. Well, look, I should let you gentlemen go, but I'd like to just offer the last word to Yuriy. Would you like to just say briefly something to anyone who's watching this about how you would like them to contribute, or why they should contribute to the cause?
Absolutely.
Could I also add that, like, could you add some Ukrainian text into this as well? Like, could you speak some Ukrainian, Yuriy, for, like, just for the record, like, just so you have something to work with, some Ukrainian
sure.
audio?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, in the last word, you know, the easiest thing I tell everybody, people don't understand that the simplest little acts make the biggest difference. Every little thing counts. Every little thing counts in support. You know, just keep the Ukrainian people in your thoughts and your prayers. You know, buy a Ukrainian flag and hoist it up there. Do you know what I mean? Let people know everything counts. Every little bit counts. That's really my parting word. And in Ukrainian, you know, it's kind of easy. People say glory to Ukraine or Slava Ukraini. And Slava Ukraini, the response people say is Heroyam Slava, glory to our heroes. So Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava. And the other chant that the Ukrainians have always had, that's a call to arms, so to speak, is something that's really, it's a complex idea in one word. And it's always looking toward the future. And it really is. A lot of times people start these chants by saying, hey, budmo, hey, budmo, hey. Hey, you can understand what that means. It's universal. Budmo is we will be. It's a chant towards the future. So budmo, you know, and that's just powerful in and of itself.
That's brilliant. Well, we've learned a lot. Learned a little tiny bit of Ukrainian, but I've learned a lot from both of you gentlemen. So thank you both very much for your time today. And all the very best.
We're honored that you even paid attention to what we're doing. You know what I mean? So this is just, it's too much. We're humbled.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure and privilege.
Yes,
yep.
I absolutely feel the same way. I feel humbled by you, and watched several of your videos just to ramp myself up a little bit, and I can see myself watching several or a lot more of them, because it's very interesting and you're very informative, and I just can't believe I'm sitting here with you right now. I'm thankful, appreciative, and well, maybe in the future we'll talk again.
You are really too kind, but I really appreciate it. And yes, I really hope we'll speak again and perhaps even meet one day. But gentlemen, thank you so much for today. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Very many thanks to Adam Hawley and Yuriy Porytko. All the details of their NFT are in the show notes, together with a link to a CoinGeek article with more information about their Ukraine project. Next week, I'll be hearing about the London BSV incubator Satoshi Block Dojo from its COO, Osmin Callis. So please join me and Osmin then. But for now, thanks for listening and goodbye. Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin wallet, blockchain, stablecoins, MetaNet, the evolution of money. Everybody is talking about Bitcoin today, but what exactly is it? Learn the basics from experts. Learn what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why it matters. Bitcoin 101, your ultimate guide to the fundamentals of blockchain.